Hi.
Hello, friends.
Hi, friends.
So this is the first time we've done this before, but we thought it'd be
we're not
fun.
gonna become vloggers or anything. Maybe.
We may if you guys
But
like this.
we have some special news.
Do we? I think everyone knows. But yes, we got engaged last week. Yay!
This sucker is blinding. Look at that shine.
Rep it.
It's a wonderful ring. This
Okay.
guy did a phenomenal job, as many of you know. And we would like to take this opportunity, and this is the point of the video, is to share with you guys a little bit about the engagement and maybe a little bit about our story as well, because we have a lot of friends in a lot of places, and we cannot sit down with all of you with a cup of coffee and tell you the story like we'd love to. So this is what this is for. We're going to try to keep it under 15 minutes. Please bear with us. Last video we made was 30, so I think we're doing good.
I'm shooting for 7. So here we go. So, as many of you guys know, going into this relationship, Candace had never really seriously dated anyone before. Never had a first kiss. Whereas myself have had a first kiss and those types of things, but
dated a lot of girls.
Not a lot. Dated before.
Weirdo, I'm the stud over here.
But upon moving down to Houston, and I was probably here for about a year and a half, we were in a situation that, I guess I was going to Second Baptist for about 7 or 8 months. In the Sunday school class that I have the pleasure of going to, we would walk by her room every single Sunday, and for literally 8 months and never interacted, never met each other, which is crazy. And so leading up to that, I feel like as many people may go through, as I moved to the big city, moved 8 hours away from Oklahoma, didn't really know anyone. Kind of went through a rough phase just as far as my relationship with Christ. Didn't really, I wasn't as focused as I should have been. Didn't go to church a lot because I didn't really have any friends to go, so it was kind of awkward. And really just got to a place, I think, that I realized I shouldn't have been in. So I reached out to a mentor now of mine named Ben DeBale, and we went through a mentorship or a discipleship, and really just kind of refocused. And thankfully that ended around August, mid-August, and I got to a place for the first time probably in my life that truly my one focus was on Christ and pursuing that relationship and making him the priority in my life. And as I mentioned, it was the first time I think I've always been focused on, activities or school or career or girls or things like that. And this was the first time that was my main focus.
So when did that...
So it ended about mid-August.
Okay. And so during that time, I had worked at Second for about 2 years at the time, moved down here in 2014, just out of nowhere, had no family, no friends, and Second has been an incredible place for me. But again, during that time, I hadn't really met anybody either. And I had just kind of come to a place via some life events that had happened over the summer, and I'd been on a few dates, and none of them really panned out how I wanted them to. And I came to a place where I actually wrote in my journal in August that if the next person that I date or that gets me out of the mindset of contentment that I'm in right now is going to have to be so incredible that they're not even real. Because I had decided from that point forward to literally only focus on my girls in my student ministry, my girlfriends in real life, and my walk with the Lord. And that was a genuine place that I'd come to, and I wrote that in my journal, and literally a month later...
Not even that, like 2 weeks later.
Yeah, 2 weeks later we met, and then a month later we were dating. Pretty much. We were going on dates. And so it's crazy that we had both kind of come to this place of genuinely, not just trying to manipulate God, but genuinely being wholeheartedly content with where we were. And little did we know, we were about to meet playing Ultimate Frisbee.
That's right. So then
we met.
So we met.
I crushed his team.
Absolutely not true. We won the championship and killed their team. But that's for another day.
But you saw how great I was at Frisbee and thought, she's a keeper.
But yeah, so it was a lot of fun. So yeah, I have been dating for a while. And then we have so many side stories that I think we could share with you guys. And if we do become vloggers, those may be the series that we go through. I don't know. It could be fun. But so find us in January. And then so I reached out to her sister, Krista, up in D.C., and start planning when she's going home for spring break and stuff like that. And so we figure out the weekend. So I booked some flights for March 10th when I'm going to fly up to Virginia to go speak to the Colonel, Candace's dad.
Colonel.
And of course ask, permission. So
Told me he was going to Chicago for a business trip.
Yeah, she literally picked me up from the airport and had no clue. So that was fun. I got to spend some time with her family. Loved it. It was a blast. And this being after she came home and met my family for the first time at Thanksgiving. I kind of met her family at Christmas. Some people even told me they knew I was kind of starting to feel it, and they're like, hey, since you're already up there for Christmas, just ask. And I was like, no, that'd be crazy. She'd be there. Couldn't pull it off.
Yeah.
So postponed it. But yeah, so flew up there in March. At that point, had the date picked out, June 3rd. So her parents could book flights, everything could work out. With my brother and his wife having a baby in April, my sister graduating in May. It was kind of a crazy season, so we just said, okay, June's going to be perfect. So that gets us up to, I guess, mid-April. I sent her a calendar invite on Outlook and said, hey, we have the symphony coming up in June. We got to go to it. And then, of course, we get like 2 or 3 weeks out. And she was like, hey, what are we doing that Saturday? And I'm like, the symphony. Like,
I forgot it
don't forget
7 times. And so he had to send me a calendar invite and was like, do not do it. I even scheduled to sing at a wedding the next morning. Like,
yeah, it was
had
crazy.
no idea what was happening. I had thought I was getting engaged the weekend before, or 2 weeks before. I was totally wrong about it. So in my mind, I was like, no more thinking you're getting engaged. So I had no idea that it was happening. So he picked me up from work, normal day, and I was just making work calls on the way, like, had no idea. I asked him why, like, what we would do if it was raining and the symphony got canceled. And he was just, like, not worried about it at all, which was weird. I was like, shouldn't you be calling the symphony? Call them and see what's happening. So we get to Rice Village, which is this beautiful part of downtown where there's a lot of old houses and these beautiful old trees. And if you know me at all, you know I love plants and nature. So he picked a beautiful spot. And we got out, and he had put big old pictures just like these.
Whoa. Don't jump ahead. So...
What's next?
Well, so you have to understand, too, if...
You said 7 minutes.
Yes,
we're
I know.
at 7 minutes.
That's true. Hey, we're getting there, though. But
Stick with us.
Hopefully everyone that's watching this knows me well enough that I'm super OCD, lots of details, so going kind of crazy, planning it all out. And I didn't plan for the rain. It wasn't supposed to rain that day. And then it just downpoured. So I was like, God, what is going on? But it actually ended up like being perfect. Then gets us to these photos. So continue.
So he had photos like these.
7 of them.
Look at how good that looks. This was my photographer roommate, Amy, did a wonderful job. And he had all these photos of big milestones. Surprisingly, we had taken a photo on most of the days where like big milestones happened. Mm-hmm. Like the first time we held hands, first time we started dating, first kiss, all that nasty, mushy stuff. And they were all in these pictures. So he walked me down this beautiful cobblestone path.
One of them was when I went up to her family to visit them and ask permission. And so when she saw that one, that's kind of when it set in. But also it was funny that it was starting to sprinkle and there was an umbrella sitting on the tree. And
he just goes over to it, grabs it, and goes, oh, we might need this.
And at that point, I think she kind of knew.
And I was like, there is not just an umbrella sitting here. Like, something's happening. And I saw all the pictures, like, down the walkway, and there was a table set up at the end. Some of you probably saw it on pictures with flowers and all this stuff.
Yeah, so we went through these kind of milestones, and as she mentioned, this was the last one that we just took, and this kind of represented the phase of picking out the ring, asking her parents, all the proposal type stuff. And then there's a little road in this section. It's like a turnaround road. But I had said the greatest line of the day, kind of turned and looked at her. I said, hey, so we've gone through all these milestones in our relationship, and as we cross this little street, we're going to go on to our next one. And that's when it just kind of hit her. So then we got up to the table. We watched a really, really good video that I think we're going to share with you guys.
He forgot the passcode, so he was yelling at his brother.
Yeah, for the iPad. So it was just brutal, starting to rain. So we ended up watching this video. It was just, I had themed it up that I wanted her friends and family of ours to answer the question of I love Candace because. And so that would kind of, after they all did that, and it was really good, it was about a 7-minute video. And then that would kind of spur up the proposal of I love you because all these reasons. But on top of that, there was a thing that I started writing probably in December. This here journal, you can kind of see, hopefully.
My initials!
Yeah, the initials in it, with the new initials. So I had the idea that I should write for every single day of the relationship. And so as you can see, this is
literally every day.
A lot of pages. So
the cool thing about that was that I had not told him this, but when I was in high school, I went to a youth retreat or something with my church, and there was somebody there that was doing a talk about relationships. And in that talk, they used the example of this couple that they knew who had been dating for a long time, and when the guy proposed to the girl, he had written her these letters throughout their entire relationship, and he had 4 binders worth of letters, and he gave them all to her when they got engaged. And I remember the point of it was to share with us as high school students that when you wait for the right guy for you, or you wait for the right girl, and you work on your relationship with the Lord, and you pray for that person, and you trust the Lord, that this is the kind of person that the Lord's going to bring into your life. And they're just going to be this incredible gift. And so it was almost motivation for us. That's what the point of the story was. And in my mind, like in that moment, I remember thinking that guy must really love that girl to have just poured out his heart in all these letters and given them to her. And I remember praying and thinking and saying, like, Lord, I would love for somebody to do that for me, because I love words and I love letters and handwritten things, and I love it. And so I don't even remember praying that like over and over for years. That was just a momentary, like, that would be an absolutely incredible thing. And then of course, you know, you have the thoughts of, well, don't be unrealistic. That never happens. That'll never happen to you. It only happens in movies, whatever. So I kind of let it go. So when he presented this to me, and if we show it, we might post the video afterwards, I'm like in disbelief. Like, how did you do that every day? Are you serious? Like, how? Because in my mind, in that moment, the Lord was reminding me that was something that was just like totally, this will never happen, but this would be amazing if it happened. And here it was happening to me like right then. And it was literally just the Lord using Chris to answer my prayers and to show me how much the Lord loves me, which was just the coolest thing ever. So that was a really neat moment. So he read to me actually an excerpt from that to use as the proposal, which was really sweet. So I'll always have it.
That was great. And then the last page of the journal was the actual proposal.
Yeah.
Because I knew, knowing me, I'd just get all teary and emotional and forget what to say. So, so it ends with what I actually said to her. And then I, of course, got out on a knee. At that point, it's starting to rain a little bit, so we had the umbrella and stuff. And then I also got her this Bible. He
had asked my mom to write things in it, like her favorite verses and notes that she had, and so that was really sweet. This also says Candace F. Stockton.
Which is crazy when she says that. But, so we did that. As Candace mentioned, we had some GoPros set up, so we may share that with you guys. And then we went and had the surprise party, so her parents flew down, which they've only made it down a couple times in a few years, just because Candace's work schedule and some things like that. So she didn't expect it, by any means.
Or my dad.
And so, it turned out really well. We had walked into the party. She thought we were just going to a dinner with some of our friends, which makes sense because the Wrights, shout out to the Wrights. They're incredible, very, very gracious.
Love y'all.
And so when we walked in, there were some people kind of jumped out. And she was like, oh, this is great. You know, like not really crying, but just very, very excited.
And then there was like 53 people there.
There was a lot.
And then my mom just steps out of the crowd, and I was like,
ah! And then that's when just the waterworks just start.
Lost.
So she grabs her mom, you know, and she's crying.
And then I see Dad.
Yeah, kind of glances over and goes, Dad! And like, yeah, really that. My voice just kind of speaks. Yeah, but just got really, really excited. So that was a great night with a lot of our close friends and stuff like that. But we tell that story because we want to tell you guys how just so many answered prayers it was. How cool it is when you get to meet not the cliche soulmate, but literally like someone that very early on you can realize like this is who God wants me to be with. And there's so many stories that we have of just the Holy Spirit kind of revealing himself and a lot of really cool God moments that we may share at some point.
Lots of answered prayers.
Lots of answered prayers. But we wanted to share this with you guys just as the excitement that we've had and all the fun story for us. But also just to encourage everyone that if you stay steadfast and kind of follow and just pursue God, number one, everything else will kind of fall into place.
And we've always prayed kind of from the beginning on a more personal note that our relationship would never really be about us, but that it would be about the Lord and that it would be about loving people and encouraging others in their walk with the Lord. And that when people would look at our relationship and the way we treat each other and the way that we love each other, that would be a picture of the love of Christ for us. And I felt the love of Christ in so many things that Chris has done, especially in the engagement, and just how much heart and love and planning he put into that. And it truly is a picture of how much the Lord loves us. And so I've seen that play out as I've shared the engagement story with a lot of my friends that don't know the Lord, just seeing their reactions and seeing how much Chris loved me and showed that it was crazy to them. And so it's an awesome opportunity for me to say, that's how much the Lord loves us, and that's what a relationship is supposed to be. And we've prayed that from the beginning, that, that we would be able to be a picture of Christ to others. And so we wanted to share this story because I think that it's a cool testimony of the Lord and what he's done in our life, and we want y'all to be able to see that and be a part of it, and just know that we love you all so much. And, we don't share this to brag or anything, even though he did an incredible job, but we just want people to see kind of what the Lord has done and just brag on the Lord through that. So yeah.
So with that, we love you all. Thank you, guys.
If you've made it this far, thank you. And
yes,
the engagement video might be long with the GoPro, but check it out. It's pretty sweet.
Yes. We'll be praying for you guys.